Oh my gosh. You're funny, dude.
Just when you thought Blitz was like already the most amazing, coolest dog, like he sings too, to such a strange song. Like, we have that song all the. Hey, can you come sit down? You are the star of the show these days.
He's searching for the dog that was singing.
That's you. Guys, check it out. Look at us upgrading a little bit. Like, we didn't bring our office rolly chairs in here. We got these nice little recliners that we're probably just gonna fall asleep in.
Hopefully I don't break one of these.
Do a podcast and just end up watching us nap for an hour.
Yeah, this is cool.
You can recline it out if you want. I'm probably not gonna do that because I will fall asleep. It has been too long. We're finally back. My first note, I'm going to read you my notes since you're always saying I'm so prepared for the podcast and everything. Oh, imagine big neon bolt sign. Ignore the holes. We haven't figured out how to cover those yet. We're going to do it.
The sign's going to cover it.
But we're going to put neon, either, I think just the Bolt logo. I think I just want the Bolt logo, not it to say Bolt. I just want the logo. Blitz has a cozy little spot behind the chairs. He likes that. But anyways, getting into our notes. You always think I'm so prepared for the podcast, and I wrote these up really, really quick. So I have bullet pointed 2 things. Life things keeping us from podcast. Sad. And then the second bullet point is leading up to semifinals.
Oh, yeah.
So that's all I have to work off of. What is oh yeah about?
Semifinals. I totally forgot.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't been in just complete psycho focus mode on that since we got the workouts early.
I think there have been so many moments that you've brought it up at such random times, like right before like we're going to sleep, and
something else will hit my brain and I'll be like, oh, what about this?
You'll be like, oh, maybe it's this. And it's like, shouldn't I be the one doing that? And there are some moments where I like pop up and I'm like on our drives when I don't like driving, but when I sit in the car, sometimes we've talked about this, like with no music on, and I have to actually focus on the road and not be doing 5,000 things at once. My brain is thinking, I've been imagining, like to the point of just getting emotional, like what this year is going to feel like.
Yeah.
Because we're going to get into this. It feels way different than last year.
Well, last night I was watching the barbell spin. Shout out to those guys.
Those guys are good.
And Boz was on there.
I like you guys.
Boz was out there giving.
We don't like other people sometimes. You can take your guesses.
Boz was on there talking, and there were some good hints in there. I mean, he was giving some information.
They weren't just hints. They were just giving them straight up info.
And I was like telling you, I was like, you came in the office, and I was like, oh, here's like 3 things that I just found out, and you're like. You were angry. You thought it was like another leak. You're like, how are people finding this out?
That's exactly
Who is
how
doing
I
this?
responded.
And I was like, it was Boz.
That's exactly how I responded. I was like, how do these people know?
Yeah.
What is going on? Does everybody know everything that's going on
Boz is just saying
except
it
us?
on the podcast. So, yeah. You were immediately like.
Immediately into it. But here's the problem with you just okay, imagine this. Now that I have my recliner, look at this. This is us, like, getting ready for bed. Maybe the handstand walk has something, like you just like randomly spout out what like a thought, but that's what we need. That's what we need, all the ideas. But we've both been very excited about this. We're going to get into semifinals chat.
Okay.
But leading up, we've been off of the
Bullet
podcast. Bullet point 1, life things keeping us from podcast, period, sad. There's a lot of personal things going on with the fam and stuff like that, and I apologize that we've been a little bit away from the podcast. I will tell you, though, I get sad when we don't do the podcast. This is good quality chit-chat time for us.
I agree.
And weird chit-chat time. So I've been sad that we haven't been hitting the podcast as consistently as I want to. We got to get back on our weekly train. But then quarterfinals
Thursday's just gotten busy because we're doing stuff.
And then quarterfinals
we've
started.
Added to your kind of like your recovery protocol to get ready for competition, so we're busy on that.
For the first
doing that
time
on
ever, I'm getting
Thursday.
body work done.
Yeah, and then, yeah, like you said, just different responsibilities.
Yeah, it was weird. Oh, dang it! Look, those mushrooms are like dying now. I liked those.
You do have ADHD.
I've been told. But no, and then we had the week of quarterfinals, and then we had the week of like video review, and then other things
Oh,
popping
yeah.
up, and then I was like, can we just chill?
We got
and
Master
get back to-
semifinals. Shout out to G and Tracy.
About to go
that
hit
today.
those. Good luck to all the Masters athletes getting after their semifinals, and top 20 from them go to the games, which is a little
40?
bit. Is it top 40? Is it more this year? For some reason I thought it was 20, but they get their own big games event at Legends, right?
Yeah.
That'll be cool. But we're back to the podcast. We've missed you guys. Don't hate us for not being here. But we're back. And now the big talk leading up to semifinals. I got lots of questions from people just being like, what does training look like? How do you feel leading up to it? And this really is a problem. We're facing our front windows right now, and there's like a lot of distractions for me. Okay?
It's good light. I feel like the lighting's better.
It's a good test. Anyways,
Is the lighting better? Did you check?
now you have ADHD. Back on track.
I'm commenting on facing the windows.
Yeah,
and
that's a
they're
problem for me. But
They're
how do we
normally
feel
open.
leading up to semifinals? Good. Good. I want to get into like what last year kind of had for us, and being that we know the workout's super early this year, it's definitely different and a little bit weird. So if you don't know, in the CrossFit world, I've learned that we have a lot of like non-CrossFit followers that watch the podcast too. So we're in
Wow.
the height of season right now. This is the time we're going to the stage where you compete live, and we're trying to make the CrossFit Games the biggest competition of CrossFit. So we did all of our stages in the gym with all of our video review, and there was a lot of drama that was going on inside the gyms with people getting penalties and not meeting standards on video review, and then people saying that we were like judges were being harsh on standards through video review. And long story short, it was crazy madness, and now we get to go compete live. We are on North America West, so we're going to go to Carson, which I am completely honored, I feel like, to go compete in Carson, because there's so much CrossFit history there, and we're in the tennis stadium, which is going to be epic. It's kind of known for being the hype stadium, like as CrossFit got bigger and bigger. So I hope we get to do some fun things there, and they bring back a little bit of that history, and I hope all of us athletes out there do that stadium proud. That's what I want to do. Like when you were in Carson many times with Cassidy Lance McWhorter, first games athlete from him. How many years did she
20
compete?
13.
13 was her first year.
Well, basically, I was there coaching from 2013 to 2017, and then 2016.
2016 was the last year.
So those 4 years, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Yeah. So you have a lot of history in Carson. Too.
Yeah, I mean, to me, Madison was great in a lot of ways, but it could be a little bit
Not like
of
those
that,
Cali vibes.
It could have been like a little bit of the OG thing, but like just, yeah, I think Carson was cooler. Just the whole layout, the tennis stadium is
Which
just
is
awesome.
where we're gonna be competing.
So I think it'll be cool.
I wonder if it's gonna
'cause
be
I think
hot
we're
and
in this,
toasty.
like, it's cool for a lot of reasons. Like obviously, you were there once as a teenager competing. I've been there multiple times. Anyone who's been like an OG CrossFitter, been part of the games or following the games for a long time, remembers all those of old like just historic events at the StubHub Center. Now it's something else.
I don't know what it's called.
So I think that's cool.
It'll
And I
forever
think
be the StubHub.
the other thing that's kind of cool is maybe there's so much drama and shifting sands and CrossFit, larger CrossFit headquarters, with raising the affiliate fees this year, and like so many moving parts, like things are changing, and then obviously there's been this drama leading up, like you said, this year with the penalties and some of those things that are kind of crazy, and then the workouts being released early, which we can get into that too.
Yeah.
That maybe this is kind of what we all need. Is this going back to
back in time to the good old days,
and like realize like why we do this and why it's a cool sport and what we can do and the stories we can tell and how it, getting back to grassroots a little bit of how the games and the affiliates and all of us can be a big happy family, even though we're kind of like different moving parts. So that's my hope, is maybe this can be like a unifying time or something positive and good happens, and we can all I don't know, reminisce a little bit and be like, hey, this is cool. It's grassroots, and bring some of that back, the part that we need back, and then also like change is not always bad. Like things need to change, things need to grow, and this can be a culminating event.
Yes.
Maybe I'm being a little bit.
No, I love it. That's the hype. That's the hype we
pie
need.
in the sky,
that's the positivity that we need. Positivity. Less of okay. So Hiller posted one day that do you think he put up a poll, and he was asking people if they feel like the CrossFit community is more positive or negative, or are you indifferent about the whole situation? And I didn't really know which way to go with that, because we live every aspect of CrossFit. We're CrossFit fans, right? We love the methodology. We coach the methodology. We live in a CrossFit affiliate. We see people that compete. You train competitive athletes as well as coach people that are in it for just their health, and we live and breathe all of this. And I think when people walk in here, our world in here is relatively positive, but I've heard too many horror stories of other people getting such more horror stories rather than like the positive stories of people coming in here saying they got such a poor experience other places. And I was like, what is going on? And where does that negative energy and negativity like come from the most? Is it like the sport being a different like type of competitive sport? Is it small businesses not knowing how to run something that's like, this is a very unique small business, right? It's very involved with people, like our famous saying, people gonna people, and how do we run this the most efficiently as a small business, but also like taking care of people the way we want to take care of people. And I was like, I think it generally is positive, but where I really leaned into like that poll of like, what do we feel in CrossFit? The community is so small, and word gets around incredibly fast, and that's only because like it's so small. Like I could say something right now crazy on this podcast and it would be out in 24 hours around the whole. Say something crazy, Blitz can sing like a caribou. Everybody get that out there, okay? But that's what I'm saying. I think it's more just how fast word gets around, which is frustrating when we have like the leaks of like all the events. I mean, it's like become a common thing that someone leaks an event.
It's a conspiracy theory
about the leaks. But
what's your? I'm trying to like follow
my point.
What's your point?
I don't know. Is the CrossFit community positive? You were talking about Carson, and we were like bringing back, like reminiscing on, everybody always says the good old days and positive, and I feel like CrossFit has been in a little bit of like turmoil of like deciding what it wants to be, a sport or a type of health and fitness regimen that people do, and I've always been the believer that it's going to be both. Well, we just don't know how to balance it.
I will say this, because I think you talking to us about us living the life of all sides, all aspects of it, which I think is just, and maybe like a little pat on our shoulders, or what we do here that I think is cool. Because I was thinking about this the other day, and this is a shout out to CrossFit headquarters for the way the season has played out this year. Is we're experiencing like every aspect of running the Open as affiliate owners. We're involved in like doing the whole thing. Like we're not hiring a bunch of other people that are like doing that, and we're like focused on you. Having 32 people make quarterfinals. Now this week we have semifinalist age group. We have your semifinal coming up, and then we're trying to make the CrossFit Games while we do all that. Is one, I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like, I don't think there's a lot of people that are like in every single step involved in like in kind of doing all of those things, which is cool because I think I don't know, it's just cool. But also that's something to give headquarters a shout out is like the experience. A lot of those, I think maybe the timeline of the season maybe would prefer a little bit differently, at least for your side of your kind of semifinalist games athletes. But overall, like I felt a lot of the steps and a lot of the things they did to make it easier on affiliates was awesome. And the programming was great in a lot of ways. Like I liked a lot of the different things about it. So I think that's cool.
Yeah.
That we kind of experience both sides, like both extremes. And I don't know, maybe that's why we need to be leaders in helping merge. Unite the clans.
I mean, I don't.
That's the Braveheart quote. Unite the clans. I feel like there's two clans. There's like the competitive side and there's the affiliate side.
That's always been the major question. And I think I've always believed and there's a way to do it is because we live it over here. And granted, we're not like the biggest CrossFit gym, but we're a good size. And the fact that we were trying to balance all the competitors with taking care of our normal everyday clientele that's just coming in to get their hour of fitness. I mean, it was a challenge, but I mean, we live up here.
Yeah.
And I'm proud of it. And it was exciting to kind of see, like, we enjoyed it more. We did a good job kind of rolling with what I mean, CrossFit. It seemed like they tried to help us out a little bit.
For sure.
And now we get to go party hard with some bigger competitions and everything. The only thing is cleaning up whatever we need some Flex Seal for the leaks. You know what I'm talking about? The dude that does the Flex Seal commercials.
No, we need the leaks.
No, I don't want to have the events for 3 weeks ahead of time or a month ahead of time. Well, if everybody has them, that's fine. But I'm just saying, for my own mental sanity, now we're focused on these workouts, these 6 workouts, and nothing else.
It's definitely a mental challenge to deal with as an athlete, I think.
I'm going to do an L sit on this chair. That was cool. What if I did a press?
You distracted me. There you
go. The events.
No,
okay.
I mean, no,
let's
we're talking.
Let's get into last year compared.
I want to make this point really quick because I think it's important. Is that I'm super happy Hiller leaked, or he wasn't the leak. He got the information and he let it out, and then CrossFit let all the.
Absolutely.
As soon as they found out,
make it fair.
People know. We learned this from 2022 games when people were finding out stuff beforehand, just seeing it happen kind of in real time, and then like it slowly trickled down to us, which were like the last people to get because we're not part of a camp or know as many. We're not like buddy with as many people.
Disappointing at the games.
Yeah, that's super disappointing. It sucked, but we started at that point. We talked about this. Like, you follow your competitors and you pay attention to that kind of stuff, but also I don't want to like get engrossed in that. Like, we have a plan for you and what we're doing, but since then, I scout. Like, I follow all the most major athletes, most major camps, because I'm like, I don't know if they know something that I don't know. So I'm paying a lot of attention.
That's where when I walk in the office and I'm like ranting and raving, like, how do they know this? How do they know? That's where I get.
And then what did I tell you? 2 days ago, I was like, I watched a few videos and I'm seeing a lot of people practice the running clean and jerk workout, not on a runner. I was like, I bet we're going to be running. And then the next day, CrossFit's like, we're running on a course. So I'm not pointing any fingers, but it's like, I definitely.
Who knows? What do you guys know?
Definitely scout and pay attention, but super glad that they
just
got
make
out
it
there.
Fair.
And
from 2 rule followers.
And
we just want fairness.
I
whispered. You got it.
Programming for preparing people for semifinals for lots of years now, so I do feel confident and like I feel very confident in my ability to help you be prepared as possible without overdoing the events, without underdoing the events, with coming up with a plan, doing some things to
And I
make
100% trust
them
that.
challenging and get you.
Yeah, usually
you
I get
ready, so-
excited to do the events because they're probably going to feel easier than whatever you programmed in here. Because you have a weird, interesting way of twisting everything up to make it harder. My forearms are so sore today. That being said, what you just said, I'm going to use it to lead into last year
Jeez.
compared to this year.
I got a drinking problem over here.
That being what you just said, in last year's events, in going into semifinals, in literally having to trick myself, mess with my brain so much for me to try to pull every single ounce out of those workouts that were so not fitting
Yeah.
to us. That was one of the hardest things I'd almost like effed up my brain, like
That
so
was really
bad.
hard, yeah.
Because when those events were announced, I was like, okay, I don't like them. The more we broke them down, I was like, shoot, this is nothing's like fitting. Like nothing feels like it's going towards like CrossFit and what we train, and then just being the type of athlete I was. Obviously, there was so much talk about, are these power-based events, and most of them were, and it got to the point where I was like furious, in tears, frustrated for so many days in a row. And the hardest part for me to see is like you do a good job of like holding your face and keeping like the
I'll try to keep the poker.
positivity, because there's no reason. We had to do what we had to do.
Yeah.
And be as ready as we could possibly be. But I could also see it on your face of just like we were like sick to our stomachs. And leading up, and I know the week we traveled to semifinals, I finally like tricked myself into being like, you know what? F this. If I make the games this year, this will be the most amazing feat ever. Just because nothing was in our favor. Nothing. Not a single event was in our favor.
You had 2 good event finishes.
Yeah, but one of them was like solely gymnastics one was good.
Yeah.
And I had a good finish on the ruck event. But once again, we talked about this last year, strapping a ruck to smaller athletes is like, it's a little bit, once again, taking away the advantage of being the smaller athlete. So anyway, we don't need to talk about that. But in the mindset it was so weird, because I went out to event 1 being like, I'm going to fight my ass off. I'll die out here to try to get my spot to the games, and then just nothing was going like the way I wanted to. We got dead last on event 1. It just wasn't right. And then
I don't think you were quite last, but you were
I was
close.
dead last. I was last. Or tied for last or something like that.
Yeah, I think you were like a few up, 1 or 2 up.
That's fine. It was last in my brain. But I had tricked myself so much into being like, you're ready. You're as ready as you can ever be. And what you just said, I was so confident that you got me as ready as I could possibly be. Linda was a big accomplishment, even though it still wasn't a strong finish and everything, and moving heavy dumbbells and everything.
Benching that for you, like that was a
amazing.
huge, at that time and where you were and how we progressed throughout the year was awesome. I mean, that was like a huge PR moment. It's just, that's kind of the sport, and that's sometimes you have to take that's a tough thing in being competitive in this sport, is you can improve so much, but if it's something that you're kind of weaker at, you should make great strides, but you're still behind the field in certain things, and it feels like a complete failure to be, I think, 33rd in that workout. But
That was the hard part.
But in 6 months prior, or 8 months prior, you would have been dead last again. You would have been like trying to just get those dumbbells up and getting singles on the bench press. So there's those things that you have to just keep in perspective in this sport. And we even talked about this last night leading up to this year, is being very confident. We're very confident in what we've done this year and being prepared and in these workouts, but it's like it's every one of these competitions, you have to be ready. There's going to be highs, there's going to be lows, there's going to be things like, even if you execute them perfectly, man, there's a bunch of other people that happen to be really good at this too, and they're great
And
athletes.
they're doing the same thing. They're executing well.
And the whole field is improving. So even though I've improved and I thought I was here, you know, so you just have to be ready to ride those and be prepared to take it one event at a time. And just when you're on the floor, you're dialed in and focused, and you're executing.
Yeah.
And you've done all the work, and you just go execute and to show off the work you've done throughout the year.
Coming off of last year and then moving into this year, once again, we're a week and a half out from leaving.
Yes.
I feel like, once again, you're doing everything you can possibly. I feel good. Like, I feel very prepared for what we're about to go into. I think there's still a couple things we need to get ready for, which we have time to get ready for. But regardless of like what the programming looks like, I'm so proud of us and our team and how we prepare for even something like last year, as shitty as that was, to something like this year. We're definitely more excited about the events and ready to throw down super hard. And we're ready, and we'll see what happens. I know when I keep telling myself when I get over there, my job is to execute. We're going to be as ready and as fit as we can possibly be at that moment. We're going to execute it, and then whatever happens after that, we'll have to ride the waves. And that the scary part of what you do keep saying is like there's always highs and there's lows. And I just, after years and years of competing, no matter what type of competition you do, you will have your celebratory moments that feel amazing and then the ones that don't go as well. And it's like preparing yourself to just stay in that middle ground of just don't get too high, don't get too low, stay right in the middle and do your job, and
there's
and
both
we'll see
sides.
where it ends up.
There's so many sides to that, because I think, yeah, as you develop, hopefully, and continue to grow in the sport and have more and more success, you've fed off of being the underdog, being underrated. I think that's still happening in a lot of what I see in the sport, which is fine. But that's going to be the next hurdle for you, is as you have more success or as you grow, is not getting too high in those moments, because you're going to be and learning to like run from the front, like Mystic Dan. Run from the front and hold on.
I think I'm always trying to.
I think you'll be fine, because you're so self-critical that you're not.
That's what I'm getting at.
You're your harshest critic that's not going to run too far the other end.
Because I don't think, and I've said this before, I don't think people realize like and to another point of podcasts and social media in the positive and negative aspects of like our sport. It's not just our sport, it's all sports. There's always sports commentators. There's the people that like to scream out the hot takes and all of that. The sport needs that. It needs that attention and everything.
For sure.
But I don't think people realize, and I've learned to recognize it, that no one out there can beat me up as hard as I beat myself up in here. And I think that's all really good competitors, is because that's how you pull the most out of yourself. Is in here, there's like the constant battle of, am I being a baby? Am I pushing myself hard enough? What is going on? We're talking about even like getting something like body work done, and I'm starting to realize like I want every little bit of edge that I can possibly have, even if it's mental, if it's physical.
Yeah,
if
you
it's
start thinking about, is this serving my goal?
Everything.
This thing I'm spending my time on, is it serving this goal that I have? And some of those things, and this is a good, I'm reading a book right now, or just starting a book, but it's talking about how distraction versus procrastination in the this is kind of like for creatives or people that are creating stuff or whatever, but how distractions can actually be good. Like having distractions gives you an outlet, gives you another perspective. It can be good to help bring you back to the.
Do you think that's why coaching helps me?
I was thinking,
it's not distraction.
I was thinking reels. All the stuff you do on the reels is like, it's comedy, it's humor, it's levity, like the hard critic you're being to yourself, then you can like go have fun with it, and it's a distraction in a good way to meeting your goal. Because if you didn't have that, you'd go crazy maybe. You know what I mean? Like
100%.
Some of those things that's like, understanding, am I procrastinating or is this a healthy distraction?
Well, let's do this.
Which that's what I can think, because sometimes people will see, I was saying like, you're making every decision, is this going to help me with my goals? Is sometimes people see you as like, oh, she does the funny reels, why doesn't she take this seriously? Where you take it so seriously when you're training or at competition, you're going to be so lasered in and serious that is the distraction that helps you balance.
Well, let's do this. We're not going to have time for questions on this podcast, but I like this conversation. Burnout. If I didn't do the things that I was doing alongside training, I'd be 100% burnt.
Yeah.
And that's what a big conversation of competing in this sport
Painting
specifically.
shoes or
competing in this sport specifically, a lot of people have been getting burnt out. And some people might come at me for saying like people have it's a different way they need to go in life and blah, blah, blah. Bottom line is you don't want to compete anymore and that's fine. You're burnt out of competing. We don't want to do that anymore. And that's that.
Okay.
That's it. But I've always said this too. If I came in here, didn't see any of my people that I'm coaching in here every single day, and it was just me in the quiet gym getting tortured by workouts and everything, I wouldn't want to do it. It wouldn't be fun.
This is a great example and a time to plug. We got new merch coming out, and this is a whole new undertaking. I don't know if you're going to plug
where you're
that.
going with this.
With the merch, go to RebeccaFuselier.com.
Oh, our new merch is available.
We're trying to get that out before semifinals.
Yeah.
And then we'll have other runs. But this is a perfect example because this is something I actually gave you a little pushback on the first Sunday you were going to go over there and work because you worked all Sunday pretty much. And I was like, dude, we're getting to the time. I kind of made a comment like, we're getting close to competition. Like you need to be resting and off of your feet and like. But this is like knowing you why you need to know you as an athlete, yourself as an athlete and as a coach, like learning these things about your athlete is like, everyone's not the same. And I think some people can overwork themselves. And I think you do need time to be pulled back. But the more I thought about it, and I was kind of reading this book about procrastination versus distraction, I was like, wow, this is actually the most healthy distraction for you, especially now that we have, like you're busy with the shirt thing, but it's a fun, exciting thing. You're doing it with your family. It's like, it's giving you the distraction from resting all day and thinking about the workouts, right? It's giving you a task and something that you're having fun with, and it's creative, and it's all of these different things. So, I don't know.
It is.
I think that's a cool thing for people to realize is like find those distractions that are like healthy
and still like within the circle
Right.
of like what you're doing.
And then go buy some merch.
Go buy our new merch
Yeah.
at RebeccaFuselier.com. It really is cool. That is something I'm 100% super excited about. My family's involved, and I've always wanted to do. I'm gonna brag on them. My family's super talented. We have anything from athletes to artists to my sister's loves her job in the medical field. My brother's an engineer, a computer science engineer, and it's like we have a little bit of everything. And I've always been like, let's just like combine it all and let's see what we can do with this and just have fun with it. And like it's been a blast. So I hope you guys can check that out. But yes, I don't know how you want to say it. I use balance. The word distraction always comes off as like a negative term, but actually that's a really positive way of thinking about it. And it's not that you're distracted from your goals. It's like you can't, and we've been in those situations. We're going to turn it on for an entire week at semifinals where our brain is just going to be solely focused on CrossFit, how we can execute each event. But if you're doing that for every single day of your life and not having any other outlet or distraction or places to place your effort, your brain power and everything, burn.
This is also another cool thing I think for the everyday CrossFitter is like a simple distraction is just like do your fitness outside of the gym.
Yes, go
like
enjoy
that kind
it.
of thing, like getting out, doing different things, picking up rocks, go out in nature, run trails, find some different ways, or just to train outside or change your perspective on fitness is not like being. The box is awesome, right? But that's not all fitness is. It's actually it's kind of a small chunk, really, when you think about like overall functional fitness. So that's a cool thing to think of is like distraction within your workouts as far as like I don't have to be in the gym doing toe bar, assault bike intervals, or echo bike intervals, or, you know, thrusters every single day. There's some balance there, especially if you want it to last long term.
I've been very thankful to be around so many people and so many opportunities to avoid. I think that's every athlete's kind of biggest fear when you're doing something like training for this sport specifically, just because there's how much percentage wise you're training, what, 98% of the time, and then we get two, maybe this is like Wadapalooza was one for us.
Yeah.
You can go compete more, but around here, like, I compete live at Wadapalooza, I compete live at semifinals, maybe make the games,
Yeah.
and that's it. 98% of your time here is training for it. It's not like we're getting into, Matt's got me into watching basketball and the Mavs, go Mavs. They have a game every other night.
Tonight.
Right now in the playoffs. A game every other night. That's nice. I kind of want to compete that often, but we don't have that. So you have to have some sort.
Find ways to make it fun.
You got to. And people make it fun. And different challenges along the way make it fun. Excuse you, is that in your way?
Yes.
So, and I go back and forth because there's been a lot over the past year of athletes not wanting to compete. And that's perfectly fine. But let's just say it what it is. This is freaking hard to train through all year. And if you're not doing something that shows like your personality or more of who you are, like this is doing grueling workouts. I mean, maybe it was Matt Frazier in his garage. He talked about that all the time. That was him locking himself in the garage and doing that. That's why he's the 5-time champ. But for the majority of us,
I can't imagine as a football player, like you have all off season, you're training hard to get stronger, faster, all more powerful, and then you have 2-a-days that hit, and you're doing that for like a month, about a month. And by the end of it, you cannot wait to play a game against somebody else. That if you were having to, and then you get to play at least 10 games, depending on the level, 11, 12 in college, that sort of thing, depending on bowl games and all that kind of stuff. But if you were training, putting in that much effort and you only were able to play 2 games or something like that, like
insane.
People wouldn't play football.
No, it's not fun.
Yeah.
And okay, but that's it. That's a major topic of conversation in the CrossFit world right now because a lot of people aren't wanting to compete anymore. They want to go do other things. Yeah. I've just been very thankful and that I've had opportunities and people surrounding me saying, hey, you can do whatever you want. Just have some fun with it. And that's it's kept me really balanced and still enjoying competing. And I think the most successful athletes in this sport, you do see that. They're still involved in their community and hanging out with people and have a life that outside of the grueling training hours. But yeah, I think if you're experiencing...
I think that's hard to find sometimes because they know they have to put in the work, and it's hard to find that balance, especially when you're young and you think that's everything. Yeah. And if you don't have some distraction or some things to realize this is awesome, this is a cool part of what I do in my life, but it's not the end all be all, and I want to keep it fun. Mm-hmm. And sometimes that means different things, whether it be doing funny reels or taking a day off and riding your bike instead of coming to the gym, whatever that is for you, then definitely long term I think will serve you better.
It's figuring out how to do that before you just reach complete. I'm done. Because I think a lot of people
it's like redlining in a workout.
Yeah,
you break before you're forced to break.
You have to learn how to pace yourself. And we've talked about this in the past. As my career, the way I would kind of like started competing and hit some not plateaus. That's not the wrong way to say it. Just how I was having to build myself up as an athlete and competitor. How it kind of paced me. And I think in the mindset that I have right now, I could do this for
Well, even
many
how
more years.
unstructured like the first part of your season is. Like you're doing some very basic strength stuff, but it's like
Yeah.
it's a lot less structure and a lot more fun doing class workouts.
Although I did have a moment on Tuesday because we're pushing hard right now and the heat's coming and I was like so tired and worn out by the end of the day. I was like getting emotional. I was like, I really want to make the games this year because there was a period like during November through December and January, I was like almost crying. Every single day we're like putting in so much work because that's like that middle ground of we're not close to season. What the heck am I doing here every single day? And it's just big advice to, and there was questions that we're not going to get to today because I just loved our conversation
We
too
can take
much.
like two quick ones.
But I just realizing, I can't distract you.
I'm waving to our
my
members
last
leaving
move
class.
mindset, the most valuable thing I've learned in fitness is that time passes on and it keeps rolling on, whether you're in a happy state or a bad state. So if you're in a happy state, enjoy it. If you're in a bad state, let it roll on. You're going to get past it. People are going to move on. The world's going to keep turning and
That's why you enjoy the moment. When you're on that semifinals floor, you got to enjoy that moment.
I know.
You only get so many of those.
I know.
And so
We're going
be
to,
focused and locked in, but like relish those opportunities.
yeah. But yeah, I was thinking about that on Tuesday. I was like, I really want to make it to the games. I want to feel that again. It was hard on Tuesday. I was so tired. I had gotten up early to coach, and we're pushing hard right now. I'm sweating in these chairs. We need that fan on next time. Okay, we're excited. Be on the competition floor soon. Do you want to answer any?
Do like one or two
or
quick
do you just
ones.
want to do Jen's question of the week?
It's up to you. I thought you said you had some great ones, but are they too?
We're gonna spend too much time, and we've actually
my
hit
gosh.
hit a lot of them.
Okay.
All right, Coach Jen's question of the week. She sent in a good one. I have read this one. You have not read this one.
You never give me the chance because you know I'll win the question.
How do you win this question? Okay, I'm gonna sit like this because I'm like sweating. You have no idea what the pain of like wearing short shorts on like leather seats. Your legs not sweat?
Do you want me to know the idea? You want me to start wearing short shorts?
For the podcast. Yeah, that's what the people want. Okay, you ready?
Yes.
Coach Jen asked us, you have $5 and 3 minutes in a gas station. What snacks are you getting?
$5?
$5 and 3 minutes to go. Run in there. This is like borderline Price is Right, Jen, so I don't know what things cost. In the gas station, they're expensive. This is like one bag of chips or something.
Yeah.
We always get Cheetos, but honestly, my road trip snack, you want to know this one? I don't know if you know this one. You know what Gardettos are?
Yes.
Those. That's like my road trip snack, but it's horrible. It makes your breath smell horrible. No one's gonna kiss you after. And those brown chips, the pumpernickel, I don't know what those are called, the pumpernickel. The brown chips that are like super crunchy.
Yeah.
When you eat them, you can't hear anything out in the world because it's so crunchy. Gardettos. And if I have change left over, I'm getting a Slurpee.
Wow. You better go on 7-Eleven day. I don't know if you can get all that for $5.
I know. I'd have to get like a baby Slurpee or something. Okay, what are you getting? Cheetos?
Am I being good or am I being bad?
Anything you want.
If I'm just road tripping and getting anything, maybe some Cheetos. If I'm being good, I usually get just salted peanuts as a snack. And
Then he
And I would
doesn't get
love
the
to say
kisses
beef,
after that because I'm
then I
allergic
would
to
love to say
peanuts.
beef jerky. But if I'm being good, I would say
It's
it's too expensive. I know it's too expensive. I would say
$5.
a protein bar and peanuts if I'm being good. If I'm not
That's too
being good,
expensive.
no, it's not. The peanuts are like, it's like 2 packs for $1.20.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's an awesome snack.
Well, I can't
If
have
I'm
that.
if I'm doing whatever I want and don't care, it's probably some sort of chip. I like Cheetos, but any sort of salty chip, and then like a Diet Coke or a Diet Dr. Pepper.
See, I had to weigh out.
That
I have
sweet,
such a
salty.
sweet tooth, but road tripping.
If
I
I'm
feel
road
like you need
tripping, a
that
long
salty.
road trip, that's what I'll get.
So I
If
got the Slurpee's gonna help me with my sweet tooth. So I got the salty chips and then the Slurpee. I don't know. We should go test this right now. Let's go to run to 7-Eleven.
See what we can
really
spend for
quick
$5.
and, yeah, we should turn that into a whole vlog. Thanks, Jen. That was a good one. Good one. Okay, we should do a road trip soon. I think that's it. I'm going to get to your questions maybe in a separate video. I was maybe thinking about doing a separate video, but our conversation was just too good. Don't be getting burnt out there. Go do some other fun things.
Find some distractions.
There you go. And we'll see you guys soon on the competition floor. Hopefully hitting another podcast before then, though. All right.
Yeah. Do you guys like? Never mind.
You guys like? Never mind. I changed my mind.
I was gonna ask a question, but then I'm like, I'm not gonna get an answer. So.
Maybe you will in the comments section. Ask them.
If they would, it just might be too much. I was thinking of podcasting
On the road.
Or
I
doing
always
like a
say
really
I'm gonna
short
do that,
clip.
and then I don't.
But we really don't have anyone to edit it except for you, so until we get an editor, that's probably not going to happen.
I just say I'm going to do that, and then I just get full on blinders.
I don't know, maybe we
on
should
and
just do like a 10-minute one that you don't have to edit and just be like, hey,
we
we're
said
here.
this one was going to be short,
Let's
and we've
chat.
probably been talking for over an hour now.
Check out, we're hanging out in California. See you guys.
Let's pick a spot
tomorrow.
on the beach and do it. Okay, for me, Matt, and Blitzy Boy right here, and Resin Hydration, go check them out. We'll see you guys later. Peace out.